Welcome to KVNU's For the People. It is Tuesday, October 6th. I'm Jason Willams, and for hour one of today's show, we're broadcasting live from Logan City Hall, part of a candidate forum here tonight, looking at 4 candidates on the die and a crowd out here in the public. We've taken some questions from our listeners, submitted beforehand via email and our Facebook page. We've also got some questions from the crowd here tonight. And we're extending the schedule to try and get as many of those in. Also, I'm told Logan City is live tweeting the candidate forum tonight using the Twitter ID City of Logan, of course, the hashtag Logan Utah election 2015 election. And you can ask them questions if you're a Twitter user. Feel free to throw your questions to the crowd, to the candidates rather, on Twitter. All right, jumping right in here with candidate introductions. We've got 4 candidates, 3 open seats. Starting on the left, give each of you between 2 and 3 minutes for your introductions. Take as much of that time as you'd like. And Karl Ward, begin with you.
Thank you, and thank you for hosting this for us. I'm Karl Ward, and I'm running for a second term on the Logan City Council. I want to continue to represent the citizens of Logan because I believe in common sense and that local government should serve the citizens. I want to continue to do what I can to ensure that our community remains on a firm financial footing, and I have a strong financial background to apply to this area. I also want to continue the work to help all areas of the city be family friendly, attractive and safe, but with as little government oversight as possible. Every neighborhood should be a safe and pleasant place to live. At the same time, we need to be business friendly. Certainly we need planning, direction, and guidelines to help ensure that our neighborhoods and community are not hurt by irresponsible actions. But this needs to be done without applying unreasonable requirements placed on businesses. It is important to remember that a healthy economy is driven by a prosperous business environment. And this is what creates jobs and provides for a healthy, growing community. We need small business, and we also need some large employers as well. Forbes ranked Logan as the number 4 best small city in the nation in which to do business, but the 21st in the cost to do business 4 years ago. I'm pleased to report that this last year Logan slipped a little to number 8 as the best place to do business, small city, but improved to number 13 in the cost to do business ranking. I think this has been in part a result of efforts over the past 4 years to reduce red tape and fees and to streamline the licensing and approval processes. I want to continue to work in this area. The city is in good financial health. The growth of bureaucracy has been well managed. To continue to encourage the return of older homes back to single-family dwellings is also something that needs to be worked on. I want to continue to actively solicit business growth and encourage entrepreneurship from within, including the programs from the university, and to continue to work on alleviating traffic congestions, all with the aim of avoiding fee increases and tax increases as much as possible. Just a brief background, I have a BS and an MBA from USU. I spent 2 years active duty in the Army and 6 years in the National Guard, and then I've been with 38 years with Zions Bank with I'm a senior vice president and manage the commercial lending functions of the bank here in Cache Valley. I spent 13 years on the Logan City Planning Commission. I've served as a precinct chair of county and state delegates. I've been an adjunct professor at USU teaching finance courses for 25 years and currently serve on the board of directors of the American West Heritage Center. I love Logan and want, like you, to keep it an idyllic place to live and work.
10 seconds.
This is why I choose to serve.
There you have it, candidate Karl Ward, council candidate, and moving right on down the line here, Tom Jensen. Tell us about yourself. 3 minutes.
Thank you, Jason. We appreciate the opportunity to express views and introduce ourselves to the public. I think you'll find that all of us, all 4 of us, love Logan, and all of us have served on the council. I served and was elected 4 years ago and then had to go to Jordan. There are some critical issues that I think we face today. While the city is well managed and financially it's very, very healthy, and I think we have a great administration. The department heads are excellent. We have great infrastructure. People want to be here and come here. We have some critical issues that require a focus and a background in planning and development. And I've focused or suggested that these require these skills, and I have those skills. I have a belief and a vision in a vibrant, walkable downtown. Our downtown is the gem, the heart, soul of the community. It has iconic buildings, but right now we have 100,000 square feet of vacancies, and that's a serious problem. I also want to have neighborhoods where owners want to buy, want to fix up, want to stay, and want to be part of the community. Currently, we have neighborhoods where people are leaving for various reasons, and that's a threat to those people who have invested in that community, in that neighborhood, not only economically, but to their soul, basically, as well. And third, traffic is always an issue, and because our county is growing and will double in 30 years, as we've heard, we need to stay ahead of that. All three of these issues require expertise, experience, and a focus in planning and development. I believe that I can bring it. A little bit of bio. I was raised in Wisconsin, incidentally near Frank Lloyd Wright. He didn't influence me, but I had a lot of admiration for what he did. I had an architectural training at Cornell University in New York. My wife and I moved here in 1976. We founded and grew a very successful architectural firm that became one of the top 30 in the nation. I've also had 30 years in community service, mostly focused on planning advocacy. And of course, we're married now 46 years and have 9 incredible grandchildren.
30 seconds.
Okay, the qualifications, I've led 6 major planning efforts that have been both countywide, citywide, and city focused. And I think the things that I bring is that I'm a good listener, I'm responsive, and I have a passion for what this city can become. I see it as a beautiful city.
All right. That was candidate Tom Jensen. Again, 4 candidates, 3 open seats here, broadcasting live from City Hall. It's part of a candidate forum. And moving right down the line, Jeannie Simmonds, 3 minutes about yourself.
Thank you very much for this opportunity. As you well know, I am Jeannie Simmonds. I've lived in Cache Valley for almost 42 years. I spent 37 years working at Utah State, first in special collections, then as a business manager, and finally as a fundraiser. I learned all about USU, Logan, and Utah, and I was able to share that with alumni and friends of USU. Never once, however, have I not been aware of the beautiful place that we live. I teach skiing in the wintertime, and I don't ever come out of the canyon without wondering at how lucky I get, just marveling at how lucky I am that I get to live in this beautiful place. As your city council person, I vow to help keep it that way. I was appointed to the council just over 2 years ago when Tom Jensen, on my right, resigned. The members of the council interviewed, I think, 16 potential candidates. I was honored to be chosen, and I am very honored to serve the city of Logan and its citizens. Prior to joining the council, I served as a member of the Planning Commission for more than 4 years. I was its chair for 2 of those. I also served on the Historic Preservation Committee. This year I've been chair of the council. Many city employees will say that I ask more questions than most and come to this position, and I do not come to this position with answers. My job is to represent the citizens of Logan in advancing and sustaining this wonderful community. It's not my job. I don't perceive that it's my job to come with answers. In the past 2+ years, I have also served on several city and county boards. I believe it is my job to come to each meeting prepared, actively participate, and champion the results through adoption by the city and the council. Examples include enhancement to the golf course, the citywide solar farm rate plan, the bike and pedestrian master plan, which we will discuss later this evening, the 4th North Corridor plan, which is on our workshop agenda for this evening, enhancements at the airport, and advocating for the construction of a new public library, among other things. My true passion, however, are the neighborhoods. I've worked extensively with the Adams neighborhood. I live in it only by a little minute. I live in downtown Logan, and my house seems to be like the outer edge of the Adams neighborhood.
30 seconds.
To establish the Adams Neighborhood Preservation Society as a boots-on-the-ground effort to promote neighborhood pride and sustainability. They will have their first meeting next month. I will meet with the Woodruff Neighborhood Champions later this week as they too begin the process of creating identity and goals for their neighborhood. The community development staff continues to be a tremendous resource and support for these efforts. This past year, the council has worked chapter by chapter reviewing the general plan.
Time. Close.
Okay. Sorry.
Moving right down the line here, sticking to the schedule. Herm Olsen, also a candidate for City Council. Herm, 3 minutes about you.
Thank you, Jason. I was born and raised in Logan, became an attorney, and thereafter went down to the Navajo Reservation where I lived with my wife, serving with the Navajo tribe. Then I went back to Washington, D.C., worked with the House Appropriations Committee for some years before determining that while I loved Washington, D.C., raising a family was much more pleasant in Logan, Utah. So 35 years ago, we returned to Logan, my wife and I, where we then raised our 7 children. You know, I discovered more so than ever before by living in various parts of the country that there are marvelous things about every place you live, but we elected to come back to Logan because it was such a treasure and remains a treasure. But unlike like so many other things, there are some challenges that we face, not the least of which is undertaking 2 of the most aggressive and most substantial projects in Logan's history, the wastewater treatment plant that we are required to construct, a county-wide landfill that's well underway. These things take time, they take money, effort, energy, and we need to do it right. So I'm excited to try and help contribute to the completion of those projects. One of the passions I've had has been, frankly, our air quality. We may be a treasure, but come inversion days, it is grim in our valley. We can't change the topography. That remains the same, but we contribute to either cleaner air or dirtier air by our behavior, and those are things that we need to work on, focus on, and one of the challenges that remain for Logan City. Thank you.
All right. There you have it. The candidates in the order that you heard them: Karl Ward, Tom Jensen, Jeannie Simmonds, Herm Olsen. 4 candidates, 3 open seats in Logan City's municipal elections this year. On the other side, we've got questions on a wide range of topics, from the future of downtown to infrastructure to jobs in Logan and attracting business into Logan city limits. Also, for listeners, or for those of you out there in the audience, we are taking questions for the candidates directly from the audience. There are cards on the table, and you can write your question down, bring it to me, and we'll make sure it gets in. More of the Candidate Forum with Logan City's council candidates here on KVNU's For the People right after this. One minute break? Okay. Cool. Jeannie, I shorted you by a second.
Jason, does this mean 1 minute? 30 seconds. Okay, thank you. 30 seconds, fine. You've been practicing.
I should have.
Happens to me every day, 4 to 6. All this stuff I'm going to talk about.
Is our sound level okay?
It sounds Does it sound okay back at the station? We'll go down to 2 minutes on the responses, and then that leaves us some room for 1 minute follow-ups. Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. We are broadcasting live tonight from Logan City Hall, part of a candidate forum. You can also get your questions in on Twitter. Logan City, using the Twitter handle City of Logan, is live tweeting tonight's forum, and they are taking your questions. If you're a Twitter user, feel free to contact Logan City via Twitter and get your questions in. Members of the audience also submitting questions here tonight via a stack of 3x5 cards at the back of the room on the table. 4 candidates, 3 open seats. Your candidates again: Karl Ward, Tom Jensen, Jeannie Simmonds, and Herm Olsen, in reverse order that we've done with the introductions. Start off with our first question of the night, 2-minute responses from each candidate. And I'll phrase this question in a way that it is usually not said, though the topic is one that's come up often and will continue to. Downtown. Question on everyone's mind as we move forward with a plan for downtown. Simple question: knock it down and rebuild, or revitalize what we have? Herm.
Knock it down and rebuild. Wow, I haven't heard that option. You know, we are all anxious about the downtown. Nationally, there has been a trend for 2 decades at least where downtowns struggle, and malls sprang up on the periphery of communities, further hurting the downtown efforts. But we have a part of the treasure I talked about is the downtown area that invites people, that allows people to come and shop. You know, years ago, it was a walking retail center. And unfortunately, there are not that many people that walk downtown anymore. We have empty spaces. I am anxious that we continue to work with the Downtown Association, the Downtown Business Association, headed by Gary Saxton, to be initiating in new retail opportunities, options to encourage interaction with Utah State. One of the opportunities I've had over the years is to travel to various places where Utah State plays various games with other communities in Oklahoma, Nebraska. These downtown areas in those communities, not unlike Logan, have a real partnership with the university. It brings kids down here. It has a town-gown correlation. That's something we can do a better job of, and part of that is making sure we have the transit system, which brings people an opportunity to get from campus down to Logan and back up to campus.
All right. Jeannie Simmonds, downtown, knock parts of it down or revitalize what's there?
Oh, you changed the question.
I'm softening it from the
Oh,
way-
you're softening it. I am with Herm in just about everything that he said, because I believe that our downtown is a gem, and it is a part of Logan that helps define who we are. I agree as well that it is in trouble right now. It's challenged. It has not as much occupancy and not as much diversity of occupancy that would draw people to the downtown. We're working to enhance the connection between Utah State University and the downtown to make it easier for people to get down there. Then our challenge will be to encourage and perhaps somehow incentivize the creation of a more vital downtown. There will be areas that I believe we will rebuild. Maybe not the core of downtown. We talk about the historic core of downtown, and we talk about the outskirts. But as like Herm said, for years people were going to the malls, and that allowed a significant amount of spread throughout the country. That spread is now coming back into the cities and towns and becoming more cohesive. The time is ripe for us to put into code or into practice the appropriate ordinances that allow for people to occupy these historic buildings without some of the huge hurdles that might be there if were they to restore them to the current standards exactly. We've done some of that with we've eliminated some of the height restrictions for any new buildings, and we will continue to work. I would like to be a part of continuing to work to revitalize downtown and bring new businesses down there.
Tom Jensen, same question to you. Downtown, knock parts of it down and rebuild or revitalize?
Well, first of all, it's a gem. I mean, to knock it down, people have said that, but that would be a travesty. We have a gem. As people have said, the bones are good. The facade, the front facade is very strong. The iconic tabernacle, the Ellen Eccles Theater, and we were architect on a lot of these projects. So I have a passion for downtown because it is the heart and soul. Can you imagine having opera visitors, the top of Utah, tour of Utah, all of these people that come to Logan with it boarded up? I mean, it's just unthinkable. I worked and was on the steering committee for the specific plan for downtown, so I know it. I've walked in every shop. I've been in every business for the downtown, and I have a passion for it, as I've said. There is a program called the Main Street Program. It's a national program because there is a movement in the country to recognize that we need to re-establish our downtowns. And they'd been neglected in many communities. And they found that by following a four-step program that they have, that they actually bring economic vitality to the community. I mean, these include design, economic, communications, and finance. We have established our Downtown Alliance based on those principles, and it is bearing fruit. Now, another comparison is Ogden. We all know what happened in Ogden. There were some very difficult times there, but a very courageous mayor and a city council, of course, that was supportive. They went through a process where they did have to tear down things. They tore down the mall. They rebuilt things, but right now it's it's an economic engine, and they've attracted national corporations to come there. So we need to do it, we can do it, and frankly, if we focus on it, I have some strong ideas. I think bringing housing, bringing people to live in the downtown. There are people that do. You see City Center, you see places in Ogden where they've done that. That will revitalize, put people on the street, and help energize the little shops that are there. The downtowns are redefined. They're boutique shops. You're not going to find the Gap and Walmart and so forth. They're boutique shops, but people go there because of the unique nature of it, and they want to see it open at night. We have shops that don't open when the theater's here and when the opera's here. So this is a concerted effort, and it's a partnership between the city, the Downtown Alliance, and the citizens.
All right. And Karl Ward, your answer to the question. Knock parts of downtown down and rebuild or revitalize what's there?
Ditto, ditto, and ditto.
Who's ditto?
I agree that knocking it down is not an option that we would want to undertake. In talking to the merchants who are hanging on down there, always the biggest issue is we need people downtown, and we need parking for people to come and come to our places of business. And we have been working on some ideas, ways to bring venues closer to downtown that would provide additional traffic just by virtue of they become destinations for people. And as Jeannie pointed out, we have softened some of the restrictions. And again, that's an important item, I think, because in order to make it economically viable to operate your business there, you have to be able to do so without restrictions that make it too expensive to accomplish what you want to do. As Tom pointed out, we are needing or wanting to have additional people come down and live near the downtown area. There's a great project that's underway right now on a building called the Ebling Building, and if you've seen the new mural painted on the south side of that building, it looks wonderful. And that's just one little step that some enterprising individual has undertaken to improve a vacant building that's been vacant for over 10 years and turn it into something that's usable, and that's what we need to continue to encourage. We have plans in place now, or facilities in place now, that can help to finance some improvements, and we can move that way, I think.
All right. Follow-up question on that. Give you a 1-minute response time for all of this, reversing the order exactly. Let's start in the middle, to be fair, so Carl's not the first. Start with you, Jeannie, and move to your right and back around. A follow-up question on the downtown. If you had to name one single thing that you think is the most important first step in this revitalization of downtown, what would it be? Jeannie Simmonds.
If I were to state one thing that I think is the important first step, I think it has to be a combination step that includes some city investment and that's kind of hard for me to identify. These guys are going to be able to answer it better than I.
30 seconds.
I think there needs to be some city investment, and there also needs to be some willingness on the part of individuals who want to do startup businesses to move to the downtown.
All right. Herm Olsen, your answer to that. Single most important thing in revitalizing downtown.
You know, the Utah Opera Company, the American Festival Choir, Michael Ballum, Craig Jessup, they have put together some world-class competence entertainment that focuses on downtown. And I am delighted that they have a venue like the Ellen Eccles Theater from which to operate. They work out of there. They bring people downtown in the evening, making it a more walkable, open opportunity. I think we need to coordinate with the businesses to encourage them to stay open and bring a diversity of opportunities so when people do come downtown and in the evenings, there are things to do, things to see, part of the excitement that these efforts bring. There's an energy when they're performing, and by the way, this Saturday night they're performing. So these are things that really help rejuvenate our opportunities.
All right. Down back on the end here, Karl Ward, single most important thing.
Single most important thing, I think, is parking, to improve accessibility to the establishments that are downtown, and to bring people downtown, they need to have a place to park, and that's what the merchants who are downtown say constantly. So much of the parking issue may be perceived as being not having enough parking there, but it's still the #1 concern for the merchants that are there. And in order to have businesses prosper, they need to have places for people to park, and that's an issue that we need to keep working on.
All right. And Tom Jensen, single most important
Thank
issue.
you. That's a great question. And the thing that I believe is that the first step you can do doesn't need to cost any money, and that's recruitment of quality boutique shops. If you think about it, if you think about Great Harvest, Anderson's Seed, Coppins, Needham, Sportsman, Strivus, they're all very successful, they're all very good, and they all bring people here. If you had 2, 3, 5 more of those businesses, you'd have a very vibrant downtown. Now, at least it'd be far more vibrant. If you look at West Center Street, what Great Harvest has done to that has made it into a lively area. So the first step would be to recruit quality businesses, and that'll bring people to here. Now, Eccles Theater, great point about that. It brings people here. We're not taking advantage of the people by opening shops in the evening where they could be there. And the other point is the copper mill, when it left, 1,200 people per day were coming through the copper mill. That was a destination. We need to have something like that to come in, and that will, again, revitalize it. Step 2 is on and on and on.
Definitely a long list for downtown, I'm sure. All right, listeners, again, we're broadcasting live from Logan City Hall. Still time for you to make it down here. If you'd like to get a question in person, We've taken some questions from our listeners previous to today's broadcast, and also you can submit your questions using Twitter. City of Logan on Twitter. They are live tweeting tonight's candidate forum. 4 council candidates, 3 open seats. A question from the audience to all of the candidates, and start here on this end with you, Herm. There are a lot of apartments in Logan, a lot of rentals. Question from the audience, is the city handing out residential licenses like free samples at Sam's Club? But a serious question on this, is there an imbalance between residential housing and other opportunities or uses for limited space inside Logan City? Herm Olsen.
You know, some years ago, there was a county-wide effort to try and determine what the future not only of Logan would look like, but of the valley. And the 2 options, unavoidably, are either densify and build up or sprawl. And the general consensus was clearly, let's keep the city, and the county. And in order to do that, we have to create opportunities for filling in the residential opportunities that do exist in Logan, and hope make sure we work with our developers so that we minimize the sprawl. If we're not careful, we're going to lose the very character of what makes us love Cache Valley as much as we do, as we have houses, streets, water lines, power lines from sea to shining sea, if we're not careful. And so we really have to make some difficult, painful decisions and agree that we need to build up more than we have, to fill in more than we have, and make sure that we don't love ourselves to death by sprawling throughout the community, losing our open space, losing our ag lands. We've got to be careful, because the projection is we're going to double our population in the next 30 years. There's already, 120,000. We better be careful, or we will destroy that which we love.
Jeannie Simmonds, same question. Balance between residential and all of the other potential uses for space in Logan City?
I agree entirely with what Herm said, that indeed if we don't densify some in Logan City, we will, and in other areas, that we will have too much sprawl and we will lose that which we love dearly. I do know that in some regards, some of the rental housing in Logan was established to help offset the pressure on single-family neighborhoods, especially Wilson and Adams, and to a lesser extent, perhaps Ellis, and now Hillcrest. We've got a lot of rentals from students. We have a lot of students living in houses, and the attempt was to create multifamily housing that would help offset that perceived problem in the neighborhoods. I think there is a place in every city for rental housing, for multifamily housing, for single-family housing. I think that we need to be careful when we zone, that we protect the housing that we have so that people maintain the value that they have in the housing stock they have purchased. And that we carefully determine where the best location is for multifamily housing. We've sort of taken one neighborhood and multifamilied it a little bit to its extreme. And now we have to step back and look at that a little more carefully. So, thank you.
All right. Tom Jensen, same question to you. Balance between residential licensing, housing in Logan, and other uses for the limited space.
I've appreciated the responses of both Jeannie and Herm. Herm referred to Envision Cache Valley, which I was chairman of, and it's true. We can either have sprawl everywhere, or we can maintain city and country. I think I would say that the city is about people, and we need to make sure that our living quality in this city maintains its vitality and its integrity. And so I appreciate what Jeannie has said regarding that. There have been some serious planning mistakes in the past, in the 70s, 80s, and Jeannie had referred to that. The northwest quadrant, we have way too many multifamily units and so that people move in and out. There's not the stability and the contribution to neighborhoods. I think one of the big things we need to have is balance between that, but there is room for that. There's room for commercial. There's plenty of room for commercial. We need to make sure that we have our neighborhoods sound and attractive to people to come to. And I was going to add this to the earlier comment. If we have a vibrant downtown, an interesting downtown, a place where people want to walk and come to, it will strengthen the neighborhoods. It will make the neighborhoods a place to come. And the example of that is you see in the east and south side of Salt Lake, where those neighborhoods have transitioned and they've become very vital. The home values have risen. And as in Ogden, the crime rate went down 33% when they revitalized that area. So.
All right. And finally, Karl Ward, same question to you. Balance between residential licensing and housing in Logan and other uses with limited space.
We do have a good stock of land available for industrial and commercial use, which I'm grateful for and which I think will be a benefit to us in the long run. As has been pointed out, we are disproportionately loaded with rental units as opposed to single-family owner-occupied residences, and it's had a negative impact on our school district in particular because of the lack of stability of families and students there. And that's something that we need to work to change. There is a need for rentals. We are a university community, and students need places to live while they're here, and they're a significant and important part of our of what we are. And I think we've made some very good progress in moving the density of student housing up around the university to then relieve the pressure on residential neighborhoods to have to house students, and then to make those less desirable apartments maybe less economically viable for the owners, and they can be then turned back into single-family residences. Again, I think it's really important that we strengthen the core neighborhoods so that we have single families wanting to live here and wanting to raise a family here and have room to put a swing set in the backyard.
All right.
Thank you.
There you have it. Again, listeners, we are broadcasting live from Logan City Hall tonight, a candidate forum. Karl Ward, Tom Jensen, Jeannie Simmonds, and Herm Olsen. 4 candidates, 3 open seats. And we're taking questions from the audience. Logan City taking questions on Twitter. If you have a question, tweet at them using the City of Logan Twitter handle, as the kids say. And we've got some more questions from the audience submitted just as we started here tonight. And we'll talk a little bit about jobs in Logan City on the other side. You're listening to KVNU's For the People. Yeah, oh yeah. That helps actually because mine are so off. We've got 2.
Still 30-second warning, yeah. Yeah. So it'll be a 1 minute for this first? Thank you.
Welcome back to KVNU's For the People. I'm Jason Williams, and we are broadcasting live tonight from Logan City Hall, a candidate forum 4 city council candidates, 3 city council seats. Herm Olsen, Jeannie Simmonds, Tom Jensen, and Karl Ward, the candidates. More information about them at Logan City's website. I've posted a link to that on our Facebook page as well. And we're jumping right back in tonight with a short amount of time to get to 2 great questions, one coming from the audience, one coming from Twitter. And so 1-minute responses to this one from the candidates. A question from Twitter: how about Main Street traffic? Karl Ward, start us off.
Thanks a lot. We attended, or had the opportunity to attend, a meeting with UDOT last week, and this was discussed. UDOT proposed some of their some solutions to some of the issues that they have, and they don't always see eye to eye with what we think, but I know it's an issue that they are concerned about. We have worked to divert as much traffic off of Main Street as we can through the development of 2nd East, and also what we're trying to develop along First West as bypass routes. And these are things that are difficult decisions and difficult things to do and impact a lot of people, but are very necessary, and I think we're going to get there.
All right, time. And Tom Jensen, Main Street traffic.
Well, that's a great question. I was one that brought the idea to, and was sat on the committee for the one-way couplets, which was a way to take some of the traffic off Main Street. Now, frankly, that idea is very expensive. It's difficult. It's just one idea. But the point is, we need to study it and balance it against the impacts on surrounding neighborhoods, because the traffic has to go somewhere. The 10th West, as it's been redesigned and rebuilt, has taken quite a bit off. I believe it's been quite successful. Same with 2nd East, the roundabouts, the realignment in certain areas. So it's an incremental thing. Certainly I don't believe in just widening Main Street and so forth. But the best thing is to continue to study and find alternative ways, such as the First West, where we can have that leak out onto the 8991.
All right, Jeannie Simmonds, Main Street traffic.
Main Street traffic is something close to my heart. I only live a block away. Utah Department of Transportation, as everyone knows, owns the road. So we have limited ability to make changes, but I have seen in the last 6 months in conversations with the UDOT officials a willingness to listen to our ideas and to ponder our thoughts, at least, which is an advance from, no, you can't do that. I think there might be some traffic calming we could do on Main Street, slower speed limits. The synchronization of the lights has helped a lot with the movement of the traffic. It has not helped the density of the traffic, however. 10th West has helped a little bit with the density. I think that if they put a light out by 10th West off the highway, that will help utilize that highway even more. Thank you.
All right. And finally, Herm Olsen, Main Street traffic.
Yipe. Well, as we know, UDOT controls Main Street, and we can't change that. I sympathize with their task. Their job is to move vehicles, and their count seems to be about 40,000 cars a day traveling up to the 4th North Corridor and then east or west and north from there. 40,000 cars a day. The traffic is staggering, and one of the ways that I think as has been discussed is that we look at moving traffic to 10th West, First West, First East, 2nd East. Problem is, when we move traffic off of Main Street, it unavoidably impacts neighborhoods. There really does have to be a balancing there, including Cache Valley Transit District biking. These are some small incremental solutions, but it's the best we've got right now.
All right, and this final question is a complex question. We're going to be very short on time to do it, so we're going to jump right in with this one. A question for all of the candidates from the audience. When I graduate from USU, what kind of high-paying jobs might be available to me in Logan in the year 2019? Herm, let's start with you.
Wow. That's a great question, and I don't have a clue. I am proud that our valley has tried to focus on non-pollution-based employment, our university connections is an ideal opportunity with our university park and the connections between using bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, doctorate degrees. These are the kind of industries we need to continue to encourage. We've done a pretty good job, but you know, frankly, people say we don't even have a clue what the jobs are going to be called and named for our children, because they don't even exist. But I think if we maintain the flexibility and encourage the coordination between ourselves and the industrial commercial opportunities that exist, we'll get there. But there will be, you know, there's obviously some difficulties in accomplishing that.
All right. Shaking up the order here a little bit, Karl, let's jump down to you. Same question from a member of the audience tonight. What might the job market in Logan look like in 2019 as she graduates from USU?
I think it's going to be very good. We've got companies here who have established themselves as leaders in the world. Icon and Conservice, Bicor, and many others that are growing here and providing a foundation and a draw for other companies to come in. And the Chamber of Commerce, along with Logan City and the Economic Development Committee, continue to work to attract them here. And as I pointed out earlier, Forbes ranks Logan as the number 8 in the nation as far as small cities to do the best small cities to do business in, and that catches companies' attention, and they are looking at bringing things to Logan, and we're doing a good job, I think, in making it inviting for them to be here.
All right. And Tom, let's go with you next. Tom Jensen, the question again from the audience. When I graduate from USU, what kind of high-paying jobs might be available to me here in Logan in the year 2019?
Well, the great resource that we have, obviously, is the university, along with the Innovation Campus. And I remember I was chairman of Cash 2010. It was an economic development thing, which talked about the integration of the thinking of the university with the resource of the great work, the people that are here. We've talked about, you know, the High Clones, Campbell Scientific, Conservice, and so forth. If right now, I understand there's over 100 startup companies, small, 1 room, 2 people kind of operations at the university or at the Innovation Campus. Some of these will grow, like the Campbell Scientific grew to be a major employer at high wages. So if the city can recognize and team up with the Innovation Campus, the people at the Research Park and the university, the technology, I don't believe that in the long term those manufacturers that have to ship heavy products, we're too far away from the airport and congestion will get bigger. We have to do high value technology projects that can use the brains, the innovation, the talent of the citizens here, along with the teaching and research of the university.
All right. Thank you, Tom Jensen. And finally, Jeannie Simmonds.
That's a tough one. I think in 2019, I can say what I would hope would be here. I think that we have to rely on the research and the innovation that comes from having a university in our community. We need to support that. We support the Business Development Center as part of, they requested some money from us and we agreed to give them that money. And they work with individuals to create sustainable businesses that can go the distance. when you think of 2019, it's not that far away, but things can change rapidly. I think our technology sectors in our economy are growing. I think we have some high research-based industries that are becoming national leaders. As was mentioned, Campbell Scientific, ICON. ICON is an international name that was born in Logan. We have a lot of people who are extremely talented and extremely intelligent, and they are working hard in their basements and in their small businesses to create what will be the next big thing. And we need to be ready to foster that for them and give them opportunities and a place to grow and be successful. Thank you.
All right. And you guys have left us enough time. We've got 30 seconds each per candidate for some closing remarks. Start at with the order we began with. Karl Ward, you first up. Tell voters why they should get out and vote for you on November 3rd.
First of all, I encourage you to mail in your ballot. It's a different process this time. I would hope that I have worked to provide a common sense approach to our city government to keep costs under control and to foster continued economic growth and reduction in regulatory burdens carried by individuals and businesses. And so I would appreciate your vote very much.
All right. And Tom Jensen, 30 seconds. Why should everyone consider you on their ballot?
Thank you. I've walked much of Logan. I've tried to listen to citizens, and I've learned for over 30 years. I've been deeply involved in community organizations, community planning efforts, and so I think I understand it. I learned much from listening. I'm committed. I hope you can tell that I'm passionate, I'm experienced, I'm responsive and fair. And for the problems facing Logan at this time, I bring 45 years of planning and experience to the table. Vote for two others and me.
Jeannie Simmonds, 30 seconds.
I would say, number one, I'm passionate about Logan City. I love being on the council, and the council is a cooperative group. It's not one person, it's all of us. We have to work together to create a better Logan, and with the citizens' help and your vote, I will continue to do that.
All right, and finally, Herm Olsen, 30 seconds. Why should voters consider you on their ballot?
Jason, thank you for this opportunity. And let me just say, unlike national politics, I think we can all say that we appreciate the decency and the civility with which the campaign has been run. These are genuinely good people, and I think Logan is well served by the election of any of them, and I really mean that.
10 seconds.
Mostly I would encourage people to vote, because municipal elections have an embarrassingly low rate of people who just don't do it. So I hope whoever they vote for, at least vote.
Great closing message there. Speaking of voting, you actually have LoganUtah.org is a great resource. Everything you need to know about the ballots, the deadlines, etc., available at LoganUtah.org. And that has been a great candidate forum.